हाँ बोलो. How many of you are there?
Sir, 4.
Only 4 of you. Okay, can I see your faces? Ajay, Jitin, Praghi. Can you please show me your faces?
Just a second.
Hello. Praghi, can you talk?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, बोलो क्या है अजय, Jitin, Praghi and Tanvi? I just overheard that you could not understand today's assignment.
यस सर, थोड़ा टफ टॉपिक लग रहा था, मतलब ऐसे
अच्छा,
जो
हाँ. और अजय, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just show me your face, please.
वो मैं आज दिन में करना है, मतलब ये वाला अभी में करना है असाइनमेंट में, क्लास के साथ साथ ये असाइनमेंट देख लेते हैं.
अच्छा. Ajay, what about you? Did you also find it difficult?
Sir, I can't submit my assignment because I got fever and more temperature.
Just
Tired also.
Sir, I found it tough, so I did only attempt only 2 questions on 4.
okay.
सर वैसे जो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन है सर, इसका तो कोई सिनेमा से ऐसा लग भी नहीं रहा लेना देना, मतलब पता नहीं डायनामाइजेशन ऑफ स्पेस एंड टाइम.
I'll explain. Today's
Sir,
assignment is a little difficult, that I understand, especially for
मैंने सर्च
beginners.
किया, कॉस्मोलॉजी आ गया.
तुम्हें फिजिक्स में ले जाएगा, तुम गूगल करोगे तुम्हें फिजिक्स में ले जाएगा. ठीक है. डायनामाइजेशन ऑफ स्पेस एंड टाइम क्या होता है. The other 2 questions, actually, ideally you should know. Even if you don't know, then you should prepare. Okay, continuity के बारे में है और टाइम के बारे में है. ठीक है ना. So I'll explain. What about Praghi? How did you find today's assignment? Praghi, Ananya, Jitin. Praghi, how did you find today's assignment? Any problems?
Yeah, sir, it was tough. I found it really tough. I attempted only 2 questions out of 4. And that
Achha.
I'm not sure of it.
Okay. Jitin, what about you?
Sir, actually, I also find it difficult to attend the question.
Can you show me your face? Can I see your face, please?
Sir, it will take 5 minutes, sir. Now
Achha.
I am connected in smartphone. I am trying to connect through my laptop.
Okay. Ananya, are you
Sir,
there?
sir, sir, I'm there, sir. I just have one doubt that only about dynamization of space. Otherwise, the rest of the questions are okay.
ठीक है. अच्छा चलो. डायनामाइजेशन का आंसर most of you who are here did not attempt because you could not understand. Okay, I'll explain what is dynamization. Can we start with the other 2 questions? Tanvi, can you?
सर आज तो मैंने असाइनमेंट किया नहीं बिकॉज
किया ही
मेरा
नहीं तुमने. अच्छा.
एग्जाम था.
sir, I have a question.
बोलो.
Can I?
बोलो. Tell me.
Before starting as class, in your opinion, is there any book or to study for FTI entrance coaching for the essay questions?
There is a book. I think there is a book which was published by Kraft. Okay, the school. So you have to ask Mr. Nareshan. Okay. There was a book which was published a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Has your whoever has attempted this thing, has it been uploaded? The answer?
Yes, sir. So they have mailed us the PDF file with all the answers in it.
दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है. Can you mail it to me? I have मुझे कोई PDF फाइल मिला नहीं आज अभी तक. If you have, do you have, guys?
So is your Gmail ID freakshower@gmail?
Yeah.
I'll mail it to you. Wait.
Just mail it to me.
Sir, I've sent it to you.
Okay. Who's going to read first? Bolo. Gone.
So may I start?
Just a moment. Pragi?
Yes, sir.
Let me upload it. Share screen.
So you may find it very wrong, my answers today. I'm
Don't
not
bother
sure.
about that. Okay, can you see?
Yes, sir. So it's in the end.
The mail. Okay. Tell me. Yeah.
So, sir, do I read the first question? Because I've
Yeah,
not.
you have not answered. Huh? So, what do you understand dynamics, space, and time? Give two examples in case of space dynamics, two examples of dynamics. Okay, we leave that. Okay, explain the concept of time in cinema. What are the techniques where you can stretch the time, condense or compress the time? Give two examples in each case. Okay.
Yeah.
Chalo, paro. Yeah, read out.
Time is a very important concept in the world of cinema. Filmmakers use time to elevate the storyline. It creates an impacting effect as it puts the audience into contemplations with respect to the story. There are techniques with the help of which we can play with the concept of time in order to portray different aspects. Stretching time, filmmakers stretch time in order to lay emphasis on certain scenes that are considered important with respect to the film. They help in highlighting the details that the makers want the audience to focus on. Examples: Drishyam. I think the classic example of stretching time is Drishyam, as it stretches the duration of 2 days as the whole plot revolves around those 2 days. They show every detail of those 2 days as its relevance in the film is the crux of the story. The audience gets to know about every detail because of time stretching. Badla. In this film, also, the plot revolves around repetition of specific sequences in the film, which speaks about the mystery or suspense related portions in the film. The film is about a murder that takes place on a day, and there are two suspects behind the murder, out of which one is dead, and the other is seeking a lawyer in order to save herself of the accusation. The film is about her
Not.
narrating
It
of
is.
what.
It is. It is not acquisition. It is accusation. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Acquisition when you acquire something. Okay,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is accusation. And accusation,
Accusation.
ACCU, is when you're being accused of something or you accuse somebody. Okay. Okay. Then.
The film is about her narrating of what happened on that particular day, I guess.
Day.
Eventually narrating what happened on that particular day. The filmmaker repeats such sequences of what happened on that day as the audience is engaged and keeps on thinking what's next.
Okay.
Time
Then.
condensation and compression. The technique is used to compress and to show a longer period of time in a shorter time range. They show time lapse, leap periods, or also certain types of montage. They use different elements like prop costumes or locations to help with the consistency in that specific time period. Interstellar. Sir, I'm not sure about this example, but I thought I would write it in order to
Okay.
ask about it.
Okay. Varun.
The title of the film implies what happens between stars. It goes on about saving the planet in the near future. The film exquisitely shows time compression in ways that one is engaged all through the film. They have shown time as a physical dimension in the film and gravity to help him reach himself from the future to the past. They have compressed time to show both the future as well as the past. 83. This is a biographical sports drama film that is based on the 1983 victory of India in the World Cup in cricket. The film shows various cricket matches in a metric montage form and then laying emphasis on certain important scenes in order to show the entire series.
Okay. I'll just explain. Let me see the continuity from spatial continuity. So first of all, let me try to explain to you the concept of time. Okay. Then from there, I'll narrow down to your answer. Take a second. First of all, I cannot see your faces. How do I kind of see your faces? Any idea? Because I can only see the document. If I want to see your faces, what do I do?
So maybe put the in a gallery view. No.
कहाँ पे
So if
रहता
the
है?
doc
ऊपर रहता है क्या? Just a moment. Just a moment. Just a moment. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
yes.
sir.
Not being able to. What I see. क्या हो रहा है? Problem क्या हो रहा है? When I'm reading the document, I'm not being able to see it. Okay. I need the document in front of me. So, so no solution now to do this.
हम्म इसके साथ और बिस्किट जीरा वाला सॉरी कुछ नहीं। हम्म,
Just a minute. Huh? Okay. Anyway, I think not being able to solve this problem. First of all, we need to understand what is time in cinema. Okay. So, cinema. There are, and please, all of you, listen to me very carefully because I'm whatever I'm going to talk about. All of you must hear me and try to understand. If you have got any questions, you can ask me the questions. Okay. So, stop sharing this. What are you seeing now? Are you seeing me or what are you seeing?
Sir, only you right now.
Okay. See, I'll just switch on there. What is the chat box? Chat box given. Any idea how do I access the chat box?
Below.
Yeah. Okay. Time and space in cinema. Okay. Can you see time and space in cinema? I've just written time and space in cinema.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, first thing that you have to understand is this. There are different kinds of art forms, isn't it? Suppose there is painting, there's sculpture, okay, and then you have what else? Photography. Then you have photography, sculpture, painting. Okay. So वहाँ पे क्या होता है तुम एक फोटोग्राफ में जब एक पिक्चर देखते हो, it is frozen in time, isn't it? There's no movement involved. Okay. When you're watching a sculpture or a work of art, like when you're watching Taj Mahal, that is frozen in time. There is no movement involved, isn't it? Even in a painting, when you're watching a painting, okay, it is frozen in time. Okay, there is no movement involved. Okay, so these kind of work of art, we call it temporal art form. Temporal art form. I'm writing it down. Temporal art form. Temporal. The word temporal is related to. Sorry, these kind of things are called spatial art form. Spatial art form, not temporal. Okay. Spatial matlab SPATIAL, spatial art form. It occupies only space. Okay, there is no element of time involved. Sculpture, painting, photography, okay, these kind of art forms. Now, there are some other art forms, for example, like music. Okay, so when you listen to a song by Lata Mangeshkar ho ya koi bhi, ठीक है, suppose you listen to a Hindi film song which is 4.5 minutes. वहाँ पे क्या है? The element of space is not there. It is only time, because the song is being sung over a period of 4 minutes or 4.5 minutes, isn't it? When you are listening to a Western orchestra or symphony, you hear that symphony over a period of certain duration of time. It could be 30 minutes, it could be 45 minutes. Okay, so music exists in time. I'll write down. Okay, music exists in time. Okay, so we call this temporal art form. Temporal art form. Temporal art form matlab related to time. Temporal is time. Okay. And spatial, SPATIAL. Spatial is space. Clear है? ठीक है ना?
Yes.
अभी कुछ आर्ट फॉर्म्स ऐसी हैं जैसे कि सपोज यू आर वाचिंग अ लाइव परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ डांस और यू आर वाचिंग अ प्ले inside a hall, you're watching a play which is unfolding in front of you. अभी प्ले जब तुम देख रहे हो, प्ले में क्या है? एक स्पेस is needed for the actors to perform, isn't it? The stage is turned into a drawing room, the stage is turned into a courtroom maybe, or a balcony. Okay, through art direction. You know what's art direction? Where you do up a space according to the requirements of the scene. Okay, so that is the job of the art director, of course. Okay, so you see a bedroom scene or you see a drawing room scene, actors are performing. So you need a space. Okay, so it's spatial art from SPATIAL, spatial. Okay, but when you're watching the play is not static like painting or photography or sculpture, isn't it? There's an element of time involved because the entire play, okay, consisting of so many scenes, okay, unfolds in suppose 2 hours or 1.5 hours. So just like music, you listen to a Lata Mangeshkar song, it's 4.5 minutes long. You watch a play, it is 2 hours long. So in theater, or a play, whatever you call it, or the dance performance that you're watching on stage, two elements are involved. Ek hai space, of course you need space, and there's something called the time, space and time. Clear hai? Okay. So we call it these kind of art forms SPATIO, spatio-temporal art forms. देख लो मैं, can you see whatever I'm writing on the right hand side?
Yes.
Spatio-temporal art forms. क्लियर है? जहां पे स्पेस का भी जरूरत है और टाइम का भी जरूरत है. तो सिमिलरली सिनेमा जो है, सिनेमा इज ऑल्सो स्पेशियो-टेम्पोरल आर्ट फॉर्म. वहां पे तुम जब कोई सीन देखते हो पर्दे में, वहां पे एक्टर्स लोग एक्टिंग कर रहे हैं, ठीक है ना, तो वहां पे जो भी हो रहा है, देयर इज अ स्पेस जहां पे हो रहा है. इट कुड बी अ ड्राइंग रूम, इट कुड बी अ हाईवे, इट कुड बी इनसाइड द कार, इट कुड बी आउटसाइड द कार, इट कुड बी द गैलेक्सी, इट कुड बी द मून, okay, it could be inside a prison cell. Okay, so there's a space involved where the characters are performing, they're interacting with the space. Okay, and also those whatever is happening on the street in that particular space, the characters interaction with the space, that is unfolding in time. It's not static like a photograph, it is not static like a painting. Okay, so cinema, just like theater or dance performance, is a spatio-temporal art where you have both space and time. Clear है ये अब तक?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है ना? ये पहले दिमाग में, this is the most important aspect of क्या बोलते हैं इसको, cinema. Okay, when we are dealing with the space, cinema में और कुछ the few other things I must explain to you, it will help you in the future for your exams also. So there's a space, element of space, and there's an element of time. Both the things. These are like, but when we discuss space and time in cinema, basically these are two sides of the same coin. You cannot discuss space without taking into consideration time. You cannot discuss time without taking into consideration space. ठीक है ना? Okay, but for the sake of discussion, what we do a differentiation between time and space for you to understand. नहीं तो कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो. ठीक है, देखो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन जो था डायनामाइजेशन ऑफ स्पेस एंड टाइम था. सेकंड क्वेश्चन क्या है, रिलेटेड टू व्हाट इज टाइम इन सिनेमा, है ना? तो आई जस्ट ट्राई टू काइंड ऑफ okay. So now what was exactly the question? Please read out the question because I can't see.
So I'll open the file once.
Let's read out.
Explain the concept of time in cinema. What are the techniques where you can stretch the time, condense or compress the time?
Okay.
Give two examples in each case.
Okay. तो टाइम का कॉन्सेप्ट समझ गया. Okay. You have to write कि cinema exists both in time and space. Why in time? Because it needs time for a film to unfold. The story inside a film, that means watching a narrative. You're watching a story. It takes time to unfold. It is not static. हाँ बोलो.
Sir, can you first analyze the answers and then give the explanation? Yeah, I think it will be much more better.
Okay, वो भी हो सकता है. ठीक है, चलो because I can expect what are the answers. Okay, so what is the next one I read? Acha, then I'll read this thing. Okay, chalo. Can you see the document? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next is continuity. Bolo. Parov, what is your understanding of continuity?
Hmm. What is your understanding of continuity in films? Explain various kind of continuity with two examples in each case. Continuity refers to the flow of visual and narrative elements in a way that it maintains continuity and consistency in between scenes in films. Spatial continuity, 180-degree rule. This rule indicates that the camera should stay on one side of an imaginary line to maintain consistent spatial relationships between characters and objects in a scene. For example, in Badla is a film, we can see the conversation between Tapsi Pannu and Amitabh Bachchan. Eyeline match, ensuring that the characters' eye lines match correctly helps maintain the uh,
Illusion of continuous space.
illusion of continuous space and gaze direction in the editing process. Example in Bajirao Mastani, sir, my answers are not very
नहीं,
descriptive. In
चलो ना,
Bajirao
हाँ.
Mastani, the scene where Mastani saves Bajirao in the war just before she gets attacked, the eye contact sequence. Temporal continuity, day to night transitions, maintaining consistency in lighting conditions during scenes that span different times of the day is crucial for temporal continuity. In Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, when Bunny and Naina go on a one-day trip to Udaipur, we can see the day-night transition. Match on action. This technique involves maintaining a seamless flow of movement between shots to create an illusion of continuous action. For example, in Pathan Jawan, in the action sequences, we can see the match on action continuity. Visual continuity, props and costume, ensuring that the props and costumes remain consistent within a scene and throughout the film, helps maintain visual continuity. In Badla, we can see it as a film that it is shot in one room mostly except for the visuals from the murder day. Makeup and hairstyle consistency in makeup and hairstyle is crucial to avoid visual distraction caused by the sudden changes in a character's appearance. In a film like Padmavat, we can see that the hair and makeup is maintained between different scenes so that there is no distractions regarding the same.
अच्छा, ठीक है, चलो. But this is also problematic. It's not the right answer. And the last answer you have not answered. Question, है ना? What is the
Yes.
concept of 180 zone manual and how can you break it? These are very difficult questions. I mean, the students are not supposed to know these things before they enter a film school. Okay, but this is the situation. You can be asked these kind of questions. These are the things that you learn in a film school. Okay. अच्छा. देखो, all these things I'll discuss together. ठीक है? Okay. अभी कौन पढ़ेगा बोलो?
Sir, me, Jiten.
जितिन.
Yes.
अच्छा, चलो पढ़ो. हाँ.
What do you understand by dynamization of space and time? Give two examples in case of space dynamization and two examples for dynamization of time. Space and time are so crucial in cinema and are both interdependent most of the time. The efficient utilization of space and time improves the cinema. Dynamization of space and time refers to the efficient utilization which enlightens the work. Also help the creator to manipulate the time and space as he wants according to the situation. Time and space are so crucial in constructing a cinema as the incidents occurring in each scene are connected to the time and space provided for each scene and altering the time and space according to the need requires complete understanding of the concept. Films often represent non-linear timeline and some are mixed with portions of past and future of the narrative timeline. So the understanding as well as effective implementation of space and time according to the situation is vital in visual arts. Space dynamization.
पढ़ो.
In the animation sitcom Family Guy by Seth, the characters Stevie Griffin and Brian time traveled using a time machine built by Stevie, and due to some errors in the machine, they are trapped outside time and space. Usually, scenes are constructed within a given space, and in this scene, the creator wants the audience to think that there is no space use. The situation is executed with different angle views of the characters without any specifics, but only having white foreground, middle ground, and background. This can be termed as an effective use of space, portraying that the characters are outside the space and time to the audience. But the makers used a non-conventional plain white colored space to manipulate the viewers. In Tarantino's movie, The Inglourious Bastards, the antagonist is a Nazi army officer who is hunting Jews. In a scene, he finds out the hide spot of a Jew family, and a girl from this family is trying to escape by running away from the house to the open field. The utilization of space in this scene is very carefully executed. The shot is point of view from the antagonist, where the girl is featured running in the openly wild wide field, but she is presented inside an open door space. When we analyze the scene, we can see the limitation of the space, even though the shot included a large space where she is running. The scene is used to represent the limitation and helplessness of the girl. Time dynamization. In Rahi Anil Baba's movie Tumpat, the story revolves around multiple timelines, and a decent execution requires understanding of time as an element of cinema. Towards the end of the movie, the main character grows old and becomes physically weak. Rather than showing his stages of life, which is not possible in a fictional movie, the infrastructure of buildings, the road.
Hello, we've lost you. Hello. Hello, can't hear you. Hello.
Physique of the man is portrayed as stage. Oh, excuse me, sir.
Hello, can you, we lost you. Can you start again this particular Tumbad from the beginning? We can't hear you. Hello. Can you hear me?
Once more, repeat once. Yes, sir, I can hear you.
I'm losing you sometimes. Can you start reading from again Tumbad?
From
your voice is breaking. Others can hear him. Hello. Just a moment. I'll stop sharing. What about the others? Can you hear Jitin?
No, sir.
Jitin, there's some problem with your network connection, I think. Jitin, can you hear us?
Sir, I can hear you. Is it okay now?
Right now it's okay. So I'll share the screen again.
Okay, sir. I think the connecting my webcam and audio together is having some type of problem.
So what is the solution? Switch off the webcam. Just switch on the audio. Hello, can you hear me, Jitin? We have lost you again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Now start reading time dynamization again.
Okay, sir. I have having some problem with connecting my video. Is that okay? I continue with
yeah,
my
no problem. No problem. You continue. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, sir. Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Time dynamization. In Rahi Anil Baba's movie Tumbat, the story revolves around multiple timelines, and a decent execution requires understanding of time as an element of cinema. Towards the end of the movie, the main character grows old and becomes physically weak. Rather than showing his stages of life, which is not possible in a fictional movie, the infrastructure of buildings, the roads, the weather, and the physique of the man is portrayed as changed or changing, which represents.
Just a moment. Why is it not possible to, in a fiction film, why is it not possible to show the stages of a man's life? Why have you said, within inverted brackets, you have written, rather than showing the stages of life, which is not possible in a fictional movie? Kyun? Why?
We can't show the continuous stage of a man's life in a fictional film which contain 2 to 3 hours, right? That takes years of process.
Why can't we?
Sir,
There's something on the makeup. Nah? You can always do makeup on a character, on an actor. I'm sure that he's aging.
Sir, but you can't show the process, right? He's aging, he's becoming weak. The yearly process we can't show. We can just show
you can move ahead in time, nah?
yeah.
You cannot show the continuous process. So if a man lives for 80 years, the duration of the film will be 80 years. That is madness. Okay. So you have to show it in stages. Nah? So when you're saying it cannot be shown in stages, of course it can be shown in stages. A child is 2 years old. Cut to a child is 10 years old. The same child is 10 years old. Cut to after a couple of scenes, he's 25 years old. So you can show a man aging in stages. Nah? So what's the problem?
Yes, my point is also what you said. You can't show 80 years of his life. You can show montage footages, right?
You have to select. Because cinema always involves selection from slices of time. Okay, you're selecting from a man's life. Okay, you cannot show everything in a man's life. Okay, chalo, continue. I'll discuss all these things later. Okay. Then
the infrastructure of buildings, the roads, the weather, and the physique of the man is portrayed as changing or change, which represents the time change. In the movie The Matrix, we can see different examples of time and space alterations. Let's consider a simple one. When a gun is fired aiming at the protagonist, he bends his body to avoid getting shot. The scene is shot in real time and edited, decreasing the speed of the reflex for attaining a slow motion, which alters the time. Slow motion scenes can be termed as time manipulation.
Okay, as far as this particular question is concerned, I'll appreciate your effort. But what is a little problematic is the first paragraph. Space and time are so crucial in cinema. These are unnecessary lines. Don't write these kind of lines. Of course, space and time are crucial to cinema. Okay, try to attack the question from the point when it makes sense. These are all what we call in English superfluous. Okay, the efficient utilization of space and time improves cinema. Okay, ये भी जरूरत नहीं है. This is also not required. Okay, यहाँ पे लिखा है what exactly you mean by dynamization of space and time. You have to explain the concept of dynamization. What you are doing, this I'm telling to everybody. Yeah, कि तुम लोग you're making general statements like they are important for good cinema and all that. That is not necessary. All of us know that. Just explain what you understand by dynamization. Okay, so dynamization of space and time refers to this efficient utilization which enlightens the work, also helps the creator to manipulate time and space as he wants according to the situation. This is okay. This is okay. This should have been your first sentence. The first two sentences are superfluous. Time and space are so crucial in constructing a cinema as the incidents occurring in each scene are connected to the time and space provided for each scene, and altering the time and space according to the need requires complete understanding of the. This is a little wishy-washy. It's not very clear. Films often represent non-linear timeline. I hope you understand what you mean by non-linear. Tell me what is non-linear.
Sir, a film which is not flowing like our life, something like 3 Idiots. The story is not non-linear.
It is non-linear or linear?
3 Idiots is non-linear.
Non-linear. Why is it non-linear?
Because the story is supposed to be Ranjan go to a college, he pass out, he then become like scientist, and then his friends is coming for him. But the story is portrayed or narrated in a way where his friends is always we seen the life of them after the college. They are some kind of successful people, happy people, and then the college life starts.
So what you're doing basically, you're cutting back and forth in time, isn't it? So instead of showing in a linear manner, linear matlab kya? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It moves in a continuous single direction. Okay, that is linear. Okay, and what is non-linear? You start from 1, you jump to 5, then you come to 3, then you jump to 7, then you come to 2, then you jump to 9. So what you're doing, you're basically jumping back and forth in time. That is called non-linear. Okay, for example, a flashback. When you're using a flashback, that is a non-linear element. Okay, then so the understanding as well as effective implementation of space and time according to the situation is vital in visual art. Space dynamization, the examples that you have given are good. At least the attempt is good. Family Guy, which I have not seen, okay, which is a sitcom, as you say. These characters are suddenly taken out of the conventional time and space as we understand them, okay. And though I'm a little kind of not very happy with the Tarantino movie Inglourious Bastard, because this particular example that you have given from Inglourious, every scene will have some way of being shown, the way it's lensed, the way whether it's a character's point of view, whether using a wide-angle lens or a telephoto lens or a normal lens. Okay, so does not mean that every scene is a dynamization of time and space. There are particular scenes which are dynamization, and there are other scenes where dynamization is not involved. So for that, you need to understand what is dynamization, which I'll be discussing a little later. Okay.
Sir, can I add the example taken from Inglourious Bastard is like that is a conveying a limited space. That's what also Tarantino was portraying in that scene, because I have read in one of his journal that
But the example that you have given, okay, is definitely right. That is not the issue. The issue is, can you call it dynamization? Okay. The utilization. The utilization of
I think the effective use is known as dynamization. I don't know. I think
every scene is required to be effective. Okay. Any scene that you shoot, any shot that you shoot is required to be effective. Okay.
Yes.
A good cinema is that. So, aisa nahi hai ki there are certain shots or there are certain scenes which are effective and the other scenes are not effective. If that is the case, then it's a bad film in terms of execution. Every scene, every shot is required to be effective. Okay. But even amongst those so-called scenes, effective, what you call effective, okay, there are certain scenes which are where you dynamize the space and time, and there are scenes where you don't dynamize the space and time. Okay, so this particular example that you have given from Inglourious Basterds is a good example that you have given. But whether you can call it dynamization of space or not, that can be discussed. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Time dynamization में तुमने जो दिया, I don't think it is quite correct. Okay, because what you have written, the metrics, for example, the infrastructure of buildings, the roads, the weather, the physics of the man is portrayed as changing, which represents time change. Okay, are you talking about a particular scene, a specific scene or a situation, or the entire film?
No, sir. A specific scene. There is a scene that the background is changing. India is getting freedom. The roads are being built by government. That's a
that is dynamization. Definitely, that is dynamization. Then you should have mentioned that. No, you have not mentioned that.
Okay, sir.
Well, yeah, that is what is required. When the question asks you to be specific in your answers vis-a-vis in relation to a film, two films, then you should have been a little detailed in your answer when Tungad was concerned. Okay. Now you're telling me all these shots, but in your answer, these things are not. Okay. But what you just told me is definitely dynamization of time. Okay. Then in the movie, The Matrix, we can see different examples of time and space alterations. Let's consider a simple one. When the gun is fired aiming at the protagonist, he bends his body to avoid getting shot. The scene is shot in real time and edited, decreasing the speed of the reflex for attaining the slow motion, which alters the time. Slow motion scenes can be termed as time manipulation. Okay, this is also right. Okay, this is also dynamic. I mean, when the shot starts, what you're trying to say is this. What we see is kind of a normal shot, but suddenly the shot becomes a slow motion, isn't it? So you're basically kind of stretching the time. Basically, you're manipulating the time and you're calling that dynamization. Okay, this is correct. So as far as time dynamization, both the answers are correct, but you should have written it in a different manner. You should have been a little more specific in terms of the visuals. जैसे कि Matrix में you are very specific about the shot, but in Tumbad you are not very specific. It's a very general kind of a thing. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So we call it montage. तुमने जो तुम्बद का example दे रहे हो, we call it montage. montage. What is montage? Montage is basically you're condensing time, you're compressing time, and showing a lot of things which might take a lot of time in real life. It could take weeks, or it could take months, or it could take years. You're condensing that into a 30-second sequence. We call it montage sequence. Okay? It's called dynamization. Dynamization of time. Okay. Now, question number 2.
Explain the concept of time in cinema. What are the techniques where you can stretch the time, condense, compress the time? Give 2 examples in each case. Sir, actually, I didn't see the word stretch. I only see the time, condense, and compress.
Okay, chalo, paro.
Actually, I think I wrote time condense instead of time stretch.
No problem. Let's hear what have you written for time compression. Yeah.
The concept of time in cinema varies according to the necessity of the cinema itself. Time plays an important role in cinema, whether it be linear or non-linear. Cinema portrays story, incidents, which are always changing according to time. Even in a static fixed shot, the time is flowing unless freezing is used or the story is told outside time domain. Each scene to be shot is to be constructed based on the time of the scene necessary. So shoots are planned accordingly. The majority of cinema, irrespective of the genre, deals with the passage of the time within, and these can only be executed efficiently by understanding the concept of time. Editing is an essential element used to manipulate time.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Okay.
Time compress.
So what I like about this particular answer, the first paragraph at least, कि यहाँ पे तुमने mention किया कि even in a shot which is fixed, which is static, okay, suppose you are shooting the wall and there's no character, okay, just a single shot of a wall that you're shooting. वहाँ पे भी there's a time which is flowing, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, maybe nothing is happening as such in terms of action or in terms of drama, but time is flowing. It looks static, but it is not static. Okay, until unless you freeze a particular shot. Okay, then time compression.
Time compression. Time compression is an editing technique used to shorten time in a scene by skipping the unnecessaries or through their placement within a short span of time and direct towards the scene which is considered necessary. Time compress is most used to fasten the flow of scene within a movie by decreasing the time which usually takes to convey that particular scene. For example, in the movie Chak De India, the Indian women hockey team is beating other teams on their journey to the final, where the matches are executed in jump cuts, and the only things highlighted throughout the games are the crucial points which engages the audience. These types of time compression are most common in the case of sports movies, as the majority of the audience are not interested in viewing the full-length match.
Very good. Okay, then
consider the movie Tare Zameen Par by Amir Khan and Amoli Gupte. Here, the art teacher Ram recognized that his student Ishan has dyslexia and needs help. With the help of Ram, Ishan uncovers his true potential. This is something which is attained with time, and in cinema, the passage of time is represented only by highlighting a few seconds of the activities they have done in order to overcome Ishan's situation. By this approach, the time is fastened within the cinema while the total time or length of the movie is compressed so that the audience doesn't get bored.
Okay, very good. Then
time condense. In time condensing, the time is stretched within the movie, making the scene lengthy.
नहीं,
Usually,
यहाँ पे I'll tell you, you have not understood the question properly. If
yes,
you go back to the uh, explain the concept of time in cinema, what are the techniques where you can stretch the time and also condense
yeah,
or compress the time? Therefore, the compression of time and condensing of time is the same thing.
okay.
ठीक है ना? You're
Yes,
compressing time, and you're condensing time, same thing.
yes,
Okay, and
yes.
stretching time is
That's what
something else. Stretching time is ulta. This is just the opposite. Suppose in real life something takes 10 seconds. But on the screen, what you're showing, that 10 seconds incident you're showing through slow motion. Slow motion is stretching of time. You're showing it in 30 seconds. So you're
yes,
stretching the time.
yes,
Follow?
sir.
So
Yes.
maybe the question is not properly constructed. There should
Yes,
have been
after the
where you
question
can
now,
stretch the time and also condense or compress the time. See, these are two different things.
yeah.
Okay. So you have misunderstood time compression and time condensation is same thing. Okay.
Yes,
But still, let's see what you have written. Time condense.
sir, time stretching.
वो time stretching होगा, right? Okay.
The
Okay.
time is stretched within the movie, making the scene lengthy.
Okay.
Usually, every slow motion scene can be termed as time stretching. In the
Exactly.
In the
Okay.
movie Jailer by Nelson, the protagonist Muthuvel Pandian, when he is walking towards the antagonist with his full potential, is presented stretching time, giving a slow motion effect.
Right.
This highlights the character and makes him dominant in the scene, which also attracts the focus of the audience towards that character. In the movie Memories by Jitu Joseph, at the climax portion, the protagonist shoots the antagonist, and a moment before the bullet enters the antagonist's skull, the time is slowed for some times, which not only provides a freezing moment to the audience, but also refers to the silence before destruction. These types of time stretching are often used in most action movies.
Very good. So condensing, don't replace the word condensing with stretching.
Okay.
Where you're basically stretching the time. You're kind of expand. We call it time expansion of time. Stretching
Yes.
of time, matlab expansion of time. Okay.
Yes, yes.
And compression of time, matlab condensing time.
Yes.
These are two different things. Okay. The
Okay.
examples that you have given are good. Expansion of time or stretching of time ka. Okay. Memories and the effect that it creates. So well answered. This is very good answer. Okay. Chalo, continuity. Question number 3.
Sir, what is your understanding of continuity in films? Explain various kind of continuity with two examples in each case. Sir, I have one doubt. How is we supposed to give examples of continuity? Because every movies we see is like they have continuity, sort of continuity of something. Properties look so. So, giving two examples of in each case, how is it? How are we supposed to write?
You are required to what is your understanding of continuity? Explain various kinds of continuity with I'll explain when I discuss the concept of continuity. Okay. चलो तुम पढ़ो अभी.
Films are usually made by combining multiple shots of scenes. Filmmaking involves shooting of multiple scenes accordingly with different time and location according to the script. So a total product is only delivered after assembling these shots and cutting out unnecessaries from it.
Just a moment. Never use the word product when it comes to films. Okay. So of course, ultimately a film is also a product, but that's a different discussion. Whether we can consider film as a product or not, it can be considered as a product because ultimately after you made the film, it has to be sold to distributors or OTT platforms, isn't it? But when you're answering these questions, look at it as an art form, not as a product. Okay? Because product has a negative connotation about it. Okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Parag?
Is only delivered after assembling these shots and cutting out unnecessaries from it. It is important to have continuity between each shot in order to deliver a good cinema. So each time before shooting a scene, The director and his assistants will have to make sure that the scene is executed continuously to the previous scene in the script if the movie is linear. In case of non-linear one, the continuity is according to the necessary by the director. Continuity has many possibilities according to the project. The basic types are,
करो.
sir, these are my own classifications of continuity.
Okay, yeah, ठीक है.
Continuity of action. The activities in a scene must match shot to shot. For example, if a character is carrying a property in his hand on a scene, the continuous scene should show him holding that in previous position.
Very good, very good. Then
Continuity of look. The look of characters in a scene must match with that scene unless it is changed within the scene. For example, if a character has long hair and beard in a scene, that look has to be maintained.
okay.
Continuity of movement. If characters in a scene are moving in a particular direction, then it must be continued throughout the scene. For example, consider two characters, Raja and Rani, walking in a park. If Rani is standing left to Raja and is ahead, the position and movement is to be maintained unless they switch positions within the scene.
Very good, very good. Then
Continuity of properties. All the properties kept in a scene are to be maintained till the end. For example, if a book is shown placed on a table during the opening of a scene, then the book must be kept there during the entire scene, irrespective of the camera angle.
very good. So if, the only problem is this, you have understood the concept of continuity and you have categorized the different types of continuities. This categorization is not correct. Okay, that I'll explain later. But whatever examples you have given, those are good examples. Okay, at least they justify your categorization. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
I will be writing a theory about my categorization of
after you pass out of the film school. Not immediately. Okay. Acha. This is very, you have understood the concept of continuity, of course. Okay. Chalo, question number 4.
What is the concept of 180-degree axis, imaginary line, and how can you break it? Sir, can't write according to 500 words. To 500 words, so just 250 or 300 words.
Okay, no problem. No, it did not be exactly 500, it not be less than that. Okay.
The 180-degree rule refers to an imaginary line the creator draws between two or more subjects in a scene. So he can set up camera only on one side of that line in order to eliminate editing mistakes. Make sure that the camera set on the side of the imaginary lines are kept 30 degrees apart from each other for better visualization. The 180-degree rule is used to achieve equilibrium, whereas breaking the rule indicates chaos. For a normal scene, the 180-degree rule is to be followed to avoid confusion. But if the creator wants the audience to confuse or to create chaos, then he can break the 180-degree rule. Normally, a director breaks the 180-degree rule with the use of a neutral shot in between. But for introducing chaos and confusion to the audience, neutral shots aren't necessary. In Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, Batman and Joker are having a conversation where Joker is trying to get into Batman's head. He is trying to gain domination over Batman. According to the character who holds superiority in each shot, the camera angle is switched from right to left, indicating a position of power. And finally, when Joker claims the only way to live is without rules, then the 180-degree rule is breached. That time, Joker is in power. Then the chaos starts. This can be stated as an efficient example of executing and breaking the 180-degree rule.
Very good. Very good. Very good. I mean, your understanding, I don't know whether you have taken the help from Google or not. So I'll assume that you have not taken any help from Google or AI.
These are, sir. Every question, every answer is my own.
That is very good. So I mean, I'm quite impressed by your answers, but they can be more refined after we discuss, after all the readings are done. Okay, when I do a general discussion, you'd realize how it could have been bettered. Okay, it's the only problem I have is with your dynamization, especially the first paragraph, because as I told you, the first two lines are like unnecessary lines. Okay, come straight to the point. What you have. So the third line makes sense. Dynamization of space and time refers to efficient utilization, which kind of enlightens the work. Also helps the creator to manipulate time and space as he wants according to the situation. So this should have been your first line. But again, dynamization, what exactly is dynamization? That I'll explain later. Okay, it's a very good effort, very good answers. Okay, so who's going to be the next?
So may I?
Geet, huh? Okay. Chalo, let me share the screen again. Okay. Okay, तो ऊपर में है क्या? गीत. चलो गीत पढ़ो.
Up clear. Okay. Dynamization of space and time is like shaking things up with how we see space and time. Instead of thinking of them as just sitting there, we imagine them as always changing and moving. Let's look at two examples for both space and time in simpler terms. Dynamization of space.
The one thing I like about your answer, as opposed to कौन था previous? Nitin, ना? What's his name? Jitin, right. कि यहाँ पे whatever is your understanding of dynamization of space and time, you have immediately attacked the question without beating around the bush. Okay, dynamization of space and time is like shaking things up with how we see time and space. Okay, it's a little vague what exactly you mean by shaking things up. Okay? Instead of thinking of them as just sitting there, we imagine them as always changing and moving. Let's look at two examples from both space and time in simpler terms. Paro, dynamization of space. Okay.
The first example is playing games with phones. Think about games like Pokemon Go. When you play, little creatures show up on your phone screen and you can see them as if they are really there in your surroundings. This mixes the real world with a virtual one, making the space around you more exciting and dynamic. So instead of having a regular street, you might find virtual creatures and adventures popping up in your neighborhood. The second example is smart cities, smart thinking. Imagine a city that's super smart. It uses fancy technology to make things work better. For example, the traffic lights change based on how many cars are on the road. This makes traffic move smoothly and avoid big jams. So the city isn't just sitting there, it's always changing and adapting to make life easier for the people living there.
Just a moment. ये जो smart city, smart thinking, what is this? Is it some kind of a game?
नहीं सर, वो अब जैसे कई कई देशों में ऐसी ये नई टाइप की टेक्नोलॉजी आ गई है, तो उसको मैंने दिमाग में रख के लिखा था
ये टेक्नोलॉजी मतलब क्या है? मतलब when you're driving, you can watch it on your smartphone or what?
नहीं सर, जैसे माने जैसे जैसे बड़े बड़े जो ज्यादा विकसित देश हैं, उनकी सड़कें बहुत ज्यादा चौड़ी होती हैं.
हाँ.
तो कभी कभार ट्रैफिक लाइट एक कोने से देखेंगे तो दिखेगा नहीं.
हाँ.
तो अगर ज्यादा गाड़ियां हैं तो ज्यादा ट्रैफिक लाइट दिखेगी ताकि सबको दिख जाए कि क्या सिग्नल है. और फिर जब कम गाड़ियां होंगी तो कम के लिए होगा. तो एक तरह से मतलब एक्सीडेंट्स को अवॉइड करने के लिए अडेप्ट करना चाहिए एक नए तरीके से.
So is this a software? Is this an app that you're talking about? A particular app?
नहीं सर, ऐप नहीं है ये. मेरे साथ मुझे उतना डिटेल में तो नहीं पता है, बट एक नई तरीके की टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप की उन लोगों ने.
अच्छा. देखो यहाँ पे एक प्रॉब्लम क्या है. देखो, when you're asked to give examples, you're required to give examples from films. तुमने जो examples दे रहे हो, these are not from films. Okay, though we get the idea what you're trying to explain. Okay, So it would be better if you can restrict your answers to specific films. Is it clear?
Okay, sir.
ठीक है ना? अच्छा, और ये पोकेमॉन भी जो तुम बोल रहा है, think about the games like Pokemon Go. When you play, little creatures show up on your phone screen, and you can see them as if they are really there in your surroundings. This mixes the real world with the virtual one, making the space around you more exciting and dynamic. So instead of just having a regular street, you might find virtual creatures and adventures popping up in your neighborhood. This is a very good example of dynamization. But then instead of Pokemon Go, you could have given examples of 3D cinema, na?
Inception.
3D matlab when you wear special glasses na before you enter the theater, and you feel ki you are there in that particular space. So you're basically dynamizing the space, isn't it? You follow me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that would have been so many films which are 3D films. So try to restrict yourselves to films. Okay, though I understand, I like the answers also, but it would have been better अगर film से examples होते. चलो dynamization of time पढ़ो. हाँ.
Time that bends just like in movies. You know, you know how in some movies when spaceships go super fast, time for the people inside them slows down. Well, scientists said this can really happen. It's like time isn't always ticking at the same speed everywhere. This idea from a smart guy named Einstein makes time feel a bit wobbly and not so fixed.
देखो यहाँ पे what I don't like is the tonal attitude of your answers. Okay, never as if you're kind of engaged in a dialogue with the examiner. Don't write like this, but it shows some kind of an attitude which may not be appreciated by the examiner. For example, the very first line, you know how in some movies when spaceships go super fast, time for the people inside them slows down. Okay, as if you're questioning the intelligence or the knowledge of the examiner. Okay, just write you're throwing as if you're throwing a question to the examiner. This will not be appreciated by the examiner. Okay, so it's better if you write in some movies. The examples like in some movies where spaceships go super fast, the people who are there inside, the time for them slows down. Okay, na? Instead of you should reconstruct the sentence without questioning the examiner. Okay, and then avoid using what well scientists say this can really happen. So your answer is full of attitude. So remove this attitude. Okay, scientists say this can really
मतलब casual की जगह professionally answer देना.
हाँ. Scientists say this can really happen. It is like time isn't always ticking the same speed everywhere. This idea from a smart guy named Einstein, as if you're talking to friends. Okay, don't do that. ठीक है, ये just मैं बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि even if your answer is right or good, okay, the examiner, you never know who is going to be your examiner. Nah, I am not the examiner. Okay, I'm just trying to guide you. So be to the point and be a little professional. Okay, makes time feel a bit wobbly and not so fixed. Okay, चलो पढ़ो bodies हाँ ऐसे.
अब ये भी फिल्म से रिलेटेड है नहीं पर फिर भी पढ़ देना.
अच्छा पढ़ो हाँ.
Bodies with built-in clocks. Our bodies are like little timekeepers. They have a rhythm like dancing to a beat. This rhythm helps us know when it's time to sleep, wake up, and do other stuff. But it's not a strict schedule. It can change based on things like sunlight. When it gets dark, our bodies say, okay, time to get sleepy. So time for us isn't always the same. It depends on what's happening around us. So the dynamization of space and time means looking at them in a more fun and flexible way. It's like adding a bit of magic to how we understand the world, whether by playing games on our phones or realizing that time isn't always in a hurry. It can take a break and slow down too.
So again, the examples that you have given, they should have been from films. None of your examples are from films. So this will go against you. Okay, na?
Yes, sir.
At least what is appreciated here is your effort to understand what is dynamization of space and time. Again, I'm repeating this for all of you. The dynamization, what exactly is dynamization of space and time, is something that you'll not get in any book on cinema. You'll not get in ChatGPT. You'll not get in Google. This is something extremely flexible and ambiguous. Okay, but when you enter a film school, they will have a module or they will have an exercise where you are required to do an exercise, shoot an exercise, which is called dynamization of space and time. वहाँ पे तुम्हें, of course, the direction faculty will explain to you what is meant by dynamization of time and space. Okay. Otherwise, you'll not get this in any book. So if you are not being able to answer this question properly, it will not be held against you. You're not required to know this. You're not supposed to know this. Okay. But what we will look for, what the examiner will look for is your effort, your effort to understand the concept, no matter how personal or no matter how subjective it is. Okay. But the other questions you must know. There cannot be any ambiguity. The other questions, matlab, explain the concept of time in cinema. What are the techniques where you can stretch the time and or condense or compress the time? Give 2 examples in each case. Okay, यहाँ पे there cannot be any ambiguity. Okay, you must know what is the concept of time, what is compression of time, and what is expansion of time. Okay, यहाँ पे again the construction is not right. यहाँ पे the construction should have been like this. Explain the concept of time in cinema. Full stop. सही है. What are the techniques where you can stretch the time and condense or compress the time? यहाँ पे and missing. Okay, so that is why our previous student, he misread the question. Give 2 examples in each case. Chalo, paro.
In movies, time is like clay that filmmakers can shape to tell stories in cool and interesting ways. They can make time feel slow.
Again, avoid words like cool. Okay, it shows some kind of an attitude which may not be appreciated. Tell stories in interesting ways. Okay.
Okay, sir. They can make time feel slower or faster to create different emotions and make scenes more exciting. Let's talk about 2 ways they do this. Making time feel slower. Super slow motion. Imagine a superhero doing something amazing and it seems like everything is happening in slow motion. Filmmakers achieve this by filming the action very fast and then playing it back at a regular speed. It makes the scene look epic and help us see every detail. Example, in the movies like The Matrix, when the hero dodges bullets, it looks awesome because it's happening in super slow motion. We get to enjoy the action and feel the intensity of the movement. Time lapses. Picturing a flower blooming really quickly or a bustling city changing from day to night in just a few seconds. Filmmakers use time lapses by taking pictures over a long time and then putting them together fast. It helps slow changes happening in a short time. Example, in a documentary called Baraka, they use time lapses to show nature, cities, and people changing rapidly. It's like watching a fast forwarded version of the world and it looks beautiful and fascinating.
Okay, sahi hai. At least your understanding of compression of time. Okay, but this is not all. I'll explain later. Okay, but whatever the examples that you have given are okay, are good. Okay.
Okay.
Then यहाँ पे देखो तुमने फिल्मों से एग्जाम्पल दिया विच इज रिक्वायर्ड, मैट्रिक्स एग्जाम्पल दिया तुमने, बराका से एग्जाम्पल दिया है ना. ओके चलो, मेकिंग टाइम फील फास्टर. ओके,
Montage. Ever seen a character training hard for something and it feels like they are getting stronger in just a few
again
moments?
your construction of sentences is again not right, as if you're talking to a friend. Okay, just
Question नहीं पूछना है.
क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछने का. Okay, now follow.
Okay. That's a montage. Filmmakers use quick shots one after another to show a lot happening in a short time. Example, in Rocky, the boxer Rocky Balboa trains for a big fight in a montage. We see him running, lifting weights, and punching in quick succession. It makes us feel the effort and progress without having to watch every single moment. Jumping around in time. Sometimes movies don't tell the story in order. They might show something from the past or future to keep us interested. It's like a puzzle that we put together as we watch. Example, in a movie called Memento, the story goes backward. We start at the end and go back to the beginning. It's like reading a book in reverse. This makes the movie more exciting and makes us think about what happened. In movies, playing with time is like adding special ingredients to make the story more fun or emotional. Filmmakers use these tricks to make us feel different things, whether it's excitement from slow motion action or curiosity from a puzzle like story. Time in movies is like a magical tool that directors use to make their stories unforgettable and enjoyable.
Okay, देखो सही है, लेकिन making time feel faster and making time feel slower, यहाँ पे what you have not all the examples are correct. ओके, फास्टर एंड स्लोअर तुम जब बोल रहे हो, स्लो मोशन क्या है बोलो? इज इट देखो, टू थिंग्स आर रिक्वायर्ड. एक है हाउ डू यू स्ट्रेच टाइम, है ना, और एक है हाउ डू यू कंडेंस और कॉम्प्रेस टाइम. ठीक है, तुम स्ट्रेचिंग टाइम के अंदर स्लो मोशन आता है, समझ गया?
जी सर.
बिकॉज यू आर स्ट्रेचिंग द टाइम, यू आर एंगेजिंग इन स्लो मोशन. ठीक है, जो एक्चुअल रियल लाइफ में 10 सेकेंड्स लगेगा, तुम पर्दे में तुम वो 10 सेकेंड्स का सिचुएशन तुम 30 सेकेंड्स में दिखा रहे हो. You're stretching the time. Okay, you have given example from the Matrix, where the hero dodges bullets. Okay, लेकिन time lapse जो है, okay, is it stretching the time or condensing time?
कंडेंस ही हो रहा है एक तरह से.
हाँ, कंडेंस हो रहा है ना. तो ये जो है टाइम लैप्स जो तुम बोल रहे हो, वो तुम जिसको मेकिंग टाइम फील फास्टर बोल रहे हो, दिस इज बेसिकली कंडेंसिंग टाइम. इंस्टेड ऑफ राइटिंग मेकिंग टाइम फील फास्टर, यू राइट कंडेंसिंग टाइम. ये टाइम लैप्स जो है इसके अंदर में है, स्ट्रेचिंग में नहीं है. क्लियर है?
समझ गया सर.
हाँ, मोन्ताज भी देखो, टाइम लैप्स इज ऑल्सो काइंड ऑफ मोन्ताज. फॉलो? Okay, and jumping around in time is basically a non-linear, matlab you are going back and forth in time. Okay, so this cannot be discussed under times. Therefore, this can come under dynamization of time. Okay, jumping around in time tumne jo kya hai, which is basically a non-linear treatment of time. Follow?
ओके सर.
समझ गया ना what I'm trying to say? अगर कोई confusion है तो मुझे अभी पूछ लो.
नहीं सर, समझ गया. आपने अच्छे से समझा दिया.
ठीक है, ओके, चलो लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, क्वेश्चन नंबर 3.
What do you understand by continuity in films? Explain various kinds of continuity with 2 examples in each case. In movies, continuity is like making sure everything fits together smoothly.
just
It's
just a minute.
okay, sir.
हाँ, चलो कंटिन्यू.
In movies, continuity is like making sure everything fits together smoothly. It's about keeping scenes and actions connected so that the story makes sense and doesn't confuse the audience. Let's talk about a few ways filmmakers do this. Making scenes look right. Looking where they should. Imagine a character in a movie is looking at something. The next shot will likely show what they are looking at. This makes the story flow without any confusion. Example in the movie Psycho, when Marianne is driving and staring intensely, the next shots reveal what caught her attention. It's like a visual link that keeps us hooked. Continuing the action. If a character starts doing something in one shot, the next shot will continue that action. It helps keep the movement smooth and connected. Example in Raiders of the Lost Ark, when Indiana Jones reaches for his whip in one shot, the next shot shows him using it. The action doesn't stop, it keeps going. Second, keeping the time in order, cutting at the right moment. When something is happening in a scene, the movie cuts to another shot at the perfect time. It keeps the story moving forward without feeling jumpy. Example in The Godfather, when Michael closes the door in one shot, the next shot takes us inside the restaurant smoothly. The action flows seamlessly. Talking back and forth. When characters talk, the movie shows them looking at each other. It's like a conversation where we see both sides. Example in When Harry Met Sally, during the dinner scene, the camera goes back and forth between Harry and Sally as they talk. It keeps the conversation feeling natural. Keeping a good beat. Switching between stories. Sometimes movies show us different things happening at the same time. It keeps the excitement up and gives us different perspectives. Example in Dunkirk, the movie switches between land, sea, and air scenes during the evacuation. It makes the story intense and shows us what's happening everywhere. Fast forwarding time. To show a lot happening quickly, movies use montage. It's like quick slideshow that tells a story in a short time. Example in The Shawshank Redemption, when Andy is digging for his tunnel, there's a montage showing the passage of many years in a short sequence. It helps us see progress without spending too much time. So continuity in movies is like making sure everything looks right, happens in order, and keeps a good rhythm. It's the magic behind the scenes that makes the story smooth and enjoyable for us to watch.
देखो, यहाँ पे एक चीज है, तुम्हारे कुछ एग्जाम्पल सही है और कुछ एग्जाम्पल्स गलत है. देखो, जैसे कि तुमने लिखा मेकिंग सीन्स लुक राइट, लुकिंग वेयर दे शुड लुक, continuity of action. सही है. Okay, cutting at the right moment. Okay, Godfather का example दिया, सही है. Okay, talking back and forth. When characters talk, the movie shows them looking at each other. It is like a conversation where we see both the sides. Example दिया, Harry met Sally से. During the dinner scene, the camera goes back and forth between Harry and Sally as they talk. It keeps the conversation feeling natural. Okay, यहाँ तक सही है. अभी यहाँ से थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है शुरू. Keeping a good beat, switching between stories. Sometimes movies show different things happening at the same time. It keeps the excitement up and gives us. तो मुझे Dunkirk से example दिया, फिर fast forwarding time, ये जो last two examples तुमने दिया, ये continuity में नहीं आता है. समझ गया? ये तुम्हारा treatment of time के अंदर. Am I making myself clear? Because
Yes, sir.
continuity, whether you're fast forwarding time through montage like in Shawshank Redemption, okay, or whether you should, जैसे कि तुमने Dunkirk का जो example दिया, between land, sea and air, this is called parallel action. ठीक है ना? Land में कुछ हो रहा है, at the same time sea में भी कुछ हो रहा है, at the same time air में भी कुछ हो रहा है. We call it parallel action. And this kind of editing is called parallel cutting or parallel or cross cutting. You're cross cutting between these three different spaces. Okay, so yeah, this will not come under the heading continuity. This will come under the heading of time, your use of time. Clear hai?
Okay, sir.
Okay, fast forwarding time definitely it cannot be under continuity. Okay. चलो ओके अभी 180 degrees और imaginary line करो.
The 180-degree axis is like an invisible line that filmmakers follow to make sure things look right on the screen during a scene. Imagine two people talking at a table, and one person is on the left side of the screen while the other is on the right. The rule helps us keep the same positions to avoid confusing the audience. The 180-degree axis. What is it? So the 180-degree axis is like a guide for the camera. It helps keep things consistent in a scene, like where people are sitting or standing. It's like drawing an invisible line to make sure everyone stays in their places. Why it's important? The reason for this rule is to make it easy for people watching the movie to understand what's happening. If the characters keep switching sides on the screen, it will cause a lot of confusion for the audience. So filmmakers use this rule to keep things organized and make sure the story flows smoothly.
यहाँ पे
Example.
नहीं, यहाँ पे एक चीज है. तुमने लिखा if the characters keep switching sides on the screen. Okay, यहाँ पे character नहीं, if the camera keeps switching sides on the screen. समझ में आया? There's an imaginary line, two characters, character A and character B. They're facing each other, sitting inside a restaurant across a table. They're facing each other. Character A is on the left, character B is on the right. ठीक है ना? अभी there's an imaginary line which is drawn between these two characters. Why is it called imaginary? Because it is imaginary. ठीक है? And now you have to decide मैं line के किस तरफ मैं कैमरा बैठा हूँ. Okay, there are two options only, isn't it? So whatever side you place your camera, okay, you have to maintain that side. So that is called 180 degrees. It cannot be 360 degrees. Okay, so तुमने तय किया, you decide कि चलो कैमरा जो मैं बैठाऊंगा लाइन के नीचे बैठाऊंगा. मतलब if you draw it on a piece of paper, this side. Okay, so whatever is your angle, whether it's a top angle, whether it's a low angle, whether it's a close up, whether it's a big close up, where there's a frontal too short, the camera positions, the camera angles, the magnification should always be, the lensing, whatever lensing you're using, the camera position should always be on one side of the line. It cannot jump the line. Okay, because if it jumps the line, audience will get confused. अरे character A left में बैठा था, character B right में बैठा था. If you're not jumping the line, character अभी audience को लगेगा अरे character B left में आ गया और character A right में आ गया. ये कब हुआ? So to avoid this confusion, we try to maintain the line. We don't try to jump the line. But of course, there are ways of jumping the line. So this particular sentence, when you're writing, if characters keep switching sides on the screen, it should be if the camera keeps switching sides. Characters can always move, huh? ऐसा नहीं है कि character को static बैठना पड़ेगा एक scene. Character can get up and walk around and move to another direction. The other character can also change his position. There's no problem with that. You cannot make the characters always static. It of course depends on the situation of the scene. Okay. Anyway, chalo. So filmmakers use this to keep things organized and make sure the story flows smoothly. Very good. Example, the example.
Think about a scene where two characters are having a chat. If the camera starts on one side showing one person on the left and the other on the right, the 180-degree axis helps the filmmaker keep them in the same spots. This way the audience
Yeah,
doesn't get mixed up.
exactly. Okay. Breaking the 100. Hello.
What it means, breaking the 180-degree rule is like doing something different on purpose. Instead of keeping everyone in the same spots, filmmakers might change things around for a special reason. It's a choice they make to add excitement or show something important in the story. Why they do it? Filmmakers might break this rule to make a scene more interesting or to create tension. It's like it's like a trick to make the audience feel something different. For example, if characters are arguing, breaking the rule can make the argument seem more intense. Example, in a movie like Inception, the director breaks the 180-degree rule during the dream sequences. It's like bending the rules to make the dream world look even more strange and exciting. This helps the audience feel the magic of dreams. How they do it? Cutting on action. Instead of smoothly moving the camera across the invisible line, filmmakers cut to a different shot right when something important is happening. It's like changing the view without making it too confusing, making a new line. Sometimes filmmakers might create a new imaginary line in the middle of a scene. This way they can change things up while keeping the story interesting. So in the world of movies, the 180-degree axis is like a guide to keep things organized. But breaking this rule is a creative choice to make scenes more exciting or intense. It's like a secret trick filmmakers use to tell stories in a unique way.
Your effort is very good. You have understood. But the last two examples that you have given are not very clear. Cutting on action. Instead of smoothly moving the camera across the invisible line, filmmakers might cut to a different shot right when something important is happening. It is like changing the view without making it to. ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. Can you explain to me what exactly you mean by this? Filmmakers
तो
might
जैसे
cut to. हाँ बोलो.
तो जैसे मान लीजिए ट्रांसफॉर्मर्स का एक सीन है जहाँ मेगाट्रॉन और ऑप्टिमस प्राइम की लड़ाई हो रही है, पर दोनों की लड़ाई अभी इंटेंस मोड पे आई थी कि तभी सैम को इधर उधर भागते हुए दिखाने लग जा रहे हैं. पता है कि बैकग्राउंड में सब लड़ रहे हैं, लेकिन इसका भी अलग से स्ट्रगल दिखाने लग जा रहे हैं. तो एक तरह से स्टोरी एंगेज रहती है, लेकिन पता रहता है कि क्या हो रहा है साथ साथ.
Cutting on action, but this is not exactly what we mean by cutting on action. I'll explain later. Okay, making a new line. ये थोड़ा सा explain करो.
तो जैसे कि इसको समझाना थोड़ा मुश्किल है सर.
हाँ. देखो ये क्वेश्चन भी ऐसा है कि ये लिखना भी मुश्किल है बेसिकली. ठीक है. Sometimes filmmakers might create a new imaginary line in the middle of a scene. This way, they can change the things up while keeping the story. So, a new imaginary line happens when a third character appears. Okay, तब एक नया imaginary line बनता है. अगर सिर्फ दो ही कैरेक्टर है वहां पे you cannot have another imaginary line. There's only one imaginary line that is existing. Okay, so a second imaginary line or a new imaginary line can only happen if there's a new character who comes into the scene. ठीक है. तो अभी वो एग्जाम्पल दे के बताना पड़ेगा. यहाँ पे तो तुम वही यू शुड हैव रिटन लाइक दिस कि मेकिंग अ न्यू लाइन हैपेंस ओनली व्हेन अ थर्ड कैरेक्टर अपीयर्स इन द सीन. सो नाउ देयर आर टू लाइंस ऑपरेट. हाउ डू यू डील विद दीस टू? Okay. So anyway, your effort is very good. I like it, and the examples are also very good, except the first two this thing जहाँ पे तुम गेम से एग्जाम्पल दिया तुमने. Okay.
ध्यान रखूंगा सर.
हाँ. बाकी और तुम्हारा कुछ कुछ जगह थोड़ा सा एटीट्यूड लग रहा है ना, एज इफ यू आर एंगेजिंग इन अ फ्रेंडली कॉन्वर्सेशन विद एग्जामिनर. ऐसा नहीं करने का.
ध्यान
एकदम
रखूंगा सर.
प्रोफेशनल टू द पॉइंट लिखने का. डोंट राइट कूल ड्यूड और स्मार्ट गाय लाइक आई एम आइंस्टाइन. डोंट यूज दिस काइंड ऑफ एक्सप्रेशंस. ठीक है.
श्योर
और
सर.
बस. और अभी कौन बाकी है? कैन वी टेक अ क्विक 10-minute ब्रेक?
श्योर सर.
ओके. चलो एक से मैं देख लेता हूँ. अभी इट्स 35. ओके, सो विल टेक अ 10 मिनट. 35 40 45 विल मीट एट 45. ठीक है ना. प्रगति का हो गया और किसका? ओ ओनली ओनली सबका हो गया अभी. स्टॉप शेयर. किसी का बाकी है अभी? जितिन का हो गया, गीत का हो गया और किसका हो गया? हेलो.
रागी ने भी सुनाया था.
किसने?
प्रागी।
हाँ, प्रागी से वो गायब है क्या? चली गई?
लग तो यही रहा है सर।
अच्छा ठीक है, चलो
हाँ
10 मिनट
चलिए
का,
सर।
हाँ 10 मिनट का ब्रेक लेते हैं। हाँ, विल मीट एट 45। ओके।
एक्सक्यूज मी सर। सर अभी मैं अपना असाइनमेंट कर रही हूँ, अभी मतलब जो आज दिखाना था पर दिखा नहीं पाए थे, आज कर रही हूँ, ठीक है सर। सर मैं अभी अपना असाइनमेंट भर रही हूँ, वो वाला जो नहीं कर पाई थी। ठीक है सर।
कौन कर
तो
रहा है अभी?
सर मैं अभी अपना वो वाला असाइनमेंट भर रही हूँ, मतलब जो आज नहीं दे पाए थे ना, वो वाला।
अच्छा, तो यू वांट टू रीड नाउ?
नहीं 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 सर, नहीं नहीं, मैंने अभी पूरा नहीं किया है, शुरू किया है अभी।
अच्छा, लिखना शुरू किया। अच्छा ठीक है, तुम्हारा कल हम लोग पढ़ेंगे। अभी कौन
हम्म।
बाकी है बोलो, अभी
अच्छा सर, एक
कौन?
और चीज कहनी थी, दैट सर जनवरी के एंड में हमें वहाँ कहीं जाने को भी था, मतलब तब देखते हैं मैं किस तरह से मैनेज कर पाऊंगी, बिकॉज सर कॉलेज टूर के लिए जाना है, एफटीआई में ही जाना है हमको ऐसे।
अच्छा,
तो फिर देखते हैं तो कोचिंग क्लासेस कैसे होंगी।
तो तुम्हारा सवाल क्या है बोलो?
नहीं कुछ नहीं, बस ऐसे, बस
अच्छा
बता रहे थे ऐसे ही, तो फिर
अच्छा
वो। और कल का जो असाइनमेंट मिलने वाला है कल की क्लास के, वो तो और इजी है, क्योंकि वैसा ही, क्योंकि जैसा टॉपिक उसमें दिया गया है वैसा हम अपने कॉलेज में पढ़ चुके हैं।
अच्छा,
तो
कल क्या है,
इजी
क्या
होगा।
क्या है कल का टॉपिक?
सर मतलब वो वेव्स के ऊपर लिखना था, दैट डिफरेंट वेव्स इन सिनेमा, ये सब इसके बारे में
अरे
पढ़ा था
अच्छा,
कॉलेज।
मूवमेंट्स, द डिफरेंट मूवमेंट।
हम्म।
अच्छा तो ठीक है, ओके। अच्छा, कल का टॉपिक डिफरेंट है और आज का टॉपिक यही है क्या, ऐसा कुछ है क्या?
नहीं नहीं,
टुमारो, आर वी कंटिन्यूइंग विद दिस टॉपिक टुमारो, और टुमारो समथिंग
अलग है।
अलग है क्या? अच्छा।
हाँ सर, अलग है। अगर किसी का बच जाता है तब कल हो सकता है, वैसे मुझे लगता नहीं किसी का बचा है।
अभी किसी का बचा है क्या? जितिन और गीत का हो गया, और किसका हुआ अभी? चलो लेट मी हैव अ लुक। प्रज्ञी का हो गया, ओके, प्रज्ञी का हो गया। अ, जितिन का हो गया, और गीत का हो गया। सो टुडे देयर वर ओनली 3 assignments, isn't it? And so,
Sir,
हाँ
can
बोलो।
you explain? You were explaining dynamization of space, like
देखो,
yeah.
डायनामाइजेशन ऑफ स्पेस एंड टाइम में देखो, डायनामाइजेशन ऑफ स्पेस एंड टाइम क्या है, देयर आर सर्टेन सिचुएशंस, ओके, where you dynamize matlab, you show something in a manner which is very dynamic. Now it's a very vague word, okay, because every scene is required to be a dynamic, ठीक है ना? So what exactly we mean by dynamization of time and space? Okay, so yeah, again देखो, as I told you earlier, this is a concept which you will not find in Google or AI. Okay, this is something which is very flexible. It depends on your personal interpretation also. Okay, so how do I make a scene interesting? So I'll give you certain examples. Okay, first of all, by dynamization of space, what we mean is, instead of showing something directly, you evoke it through something else. Okay, I'll write it down. Um, instead of showing something directly, we evoke it by showing something else. Okay, this is a very kind of, this is dynamization. Can you read it? Instead of showing something directly, we evoke it by showing something else. Okay, for examples, दो तीन मैं एग्जांपल्स दूंगा कि बहुत साल पहले पहले आई हैड रिटन ऑन, आई टू राइट फॉर क्राइम सीरीज, ओके, तो वहां पे द फर्स्ट सीन मैंने क्या
मैंने
दिखाया।
शोरूम देखी नहीं।
हेलो, कैन यू हियर मी?
मैंने शोरूम देखी नहीं।
हेलो, कैन यू हियर मी, ऑल ऑफ
नहीं,
यू? तन्वी,
मैंने
तुम किसके साथ बात बोल रहे हो?
किसी के साथ नहीं सर, कुछ सोच रहे थे।
अच्छा, don't think aloud. You're disturbing the others. Okay, but all of you can hear me, na? Please just let me hear you out, all of you.
Yeah, sir, you're audible.
या ओके, सो
यस सर।
जैसे कि एक सीन मैंने लिखा था कि एक मर्डर सीन है, जहाँ पे बम्बई का चौल जैसे होते हैं ना, चौल के दरवाजे खुला रहते हैं, ठीक है ना? हाँ, और वहाँ पे एक बच्चा लड़का दिखाई दे रहा है, कमरे के अंदर, फेसिंग द डोर, ही इज प्लेइंग विद टॉयज, ठीक है? and we can see the mother she's working in a single room, single space, single room. Okay, so वहाँ पे कोई बंदा he enters the room very softly, very clandestinely, and he crosses the child. Okay, the child is not bothered. Child continues to play with the toys, and that fellow, the stranger, what he does, he goes at the back of towards the back of the room and strangles the mother, and the mother shouts and mother dies. This is a scene that I've written. Okay, and a screenplay में क्या है? You just write the visuals and the sound or the dialogue. You don't write anything else. You don't write what is happening inside the head of the character. Okay, so when I saw, so what I wrote, a child is playing with his toys in front of a door, full stop. A woman is walking behind the child, okay, doing up the bed, the pillows and all, okay. Suddenly, full stop, suddenly a man enters the door very softly, crosses the child and goes towards the background and strangles the woman. Okay, strangles the woman, and the woman kind of struggles for a while, and then the woman dies. Okay, so 3 or 4 lines. This is a scene without any dialogue, with some murder scene. Okay, so this is how I'd written, the way I just explained to you. Okay, जब मैं ये सीन देख रहा था पर्दे में, टेलीविजन में, what I saw, the director had dynamized the scene. What he had done, the way he had shot, okay, डोर है, पूरा डोर हम लोग नहीं देख रहे, डोर का आधा, the camera is at the ground level, at the floor level. We can see the foreground quite close, medium shot, not close up, medium shot. एक बच्चा जो है वो खेल रहा है, ठीक है ना, खेल रहा है, और किस चीज से खेल रहा है? मैंने लिखा था टॉयज, ही इज प्लेइंग विद टॉयज. आई वाज नॉट स्पेसिफिक व्हाट टॉयज, ठीक है. सो वहां पे डायरेक्टर ने क्या किया, दिखाया कि एक सर्कुलर रेलवे ट्रैक है और ट्रैक के ऊपर एक टॉय ट्रेन ऐसा टक 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 ऐसा जा रहा है, ठीक है. एंड बैकग्राउंड में a little out of focus we can see a woman from, from the shoulder down. Okay, she's walking, she's like kind of fluffing the pillows on the bed. Out of focus पीछे है, we can understand. Suddenly, foreground में a pair of legs we see. It enters the door. Okay, it crosses the child and goes behind, and there's a struggle which is happening. Same shot चल रहा है, it does not cut. We can make out there's a struggle which is going on behind the child. Okay, and suddenly it cuts to a close-up of the toy train. Toy train ऐसा जा रहा है, जा रहा है, जा रहा है, जा रहा है, जा रहा है. Track के ऊपर suddenly there's some kind of an obstacle on the track. The toy train hits the obstacle and falls down. It derails, and the scene cuts. Okay, and we understand that the woman has been murdered. So murder directly nahi dikhaya. Can you get me? It is the murder, instead of showing the murder directly, the murder was conveyed through the falling of the train from the railway track. So this is called dynamization. You're dynamizing, making it visually interesting. Instead of showing something directly, you're showing it through something else. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Understood.
So it's देखो, तुम directly भी दिखा सकते थे ना. It depends on the director's treatment. It depends on the director's interpretation of the scene. I think it's very visual. I think it's very dynamic. Okay, so there's another, I was teaching a batch long back. Okay, they were doing dynamization exercise. So there's a very interesting exercise which was done by student. So he shows that there's a man inside his drawing room. He's sitting on the sofa. Okay, his legs, spread across the table. Okay, and he has a laptop on his thighs. He's watching a show dealing with planets, the solar system, the planets and all. National Geographic or Discovery kind of a show. ठीक है, तो वहाँ पे दिखा रहा है कि वहाँ पे planetary movements दिखा रहा है, बाकी सब गैलेक्सी वगैरह वगैरह दिखा रहा है. ठीक है, suddenly we see पीछे से एक बंदा आता है, and he's carrying a brick, a stone, a huge stone. Okay, and he aims it on his head. Okay, and he brings down the stone, and this man is not aware. The man is watching the program. Okay, and पीछे से जो stranger आके वो बड़ा brick लेके, he brings it on the head of the man. Okay, and before the stone is shown touching the head of the man, it cuts to the close-up of the screen, the laptop screen, जहाँ पे हम लोग क्या देख रहे हैं कि meteor आके, it crashes again, hits this thing, Earth kind of, round shaped thing, and then Earth shatters into splinters. and we understand that the man is dead. The man's head must have been, hit like that, and must have kind of, splintered like that planet, particular planet. So what you're showing, what you're doing, you're not showing the murder direct. Okay, you're evoking the murder through something else. So you're dynamizing the scene. Another director may have, through special effects, could have shown the rock directly hitting the head, and the head breaks and blood oozes out, the brains come out. That is also a tariqa, that is also a treatment. Okay, but it's the choice that a director has. So director will decide, do I show it directly or do I dynamize the scene? So if he's dynamizing the scene, so he has to think, how do I evoke that without showing it directly, through something else. Okay, एक जमाना था पुराने हिंदी फिल्मों में, जब भी कोई रोमांटिक सीन बिटवीन द मैन एंड द वुमन, द हीरो हीरोइन, ओके, गार्डन में गाना गा रहे हैं, ठीक है ना, suddenly they're about to kiss each other. आज के तारीख में kissing is allowed. You can show characters kissing on the screen. But एक जमाना था, because of censorship and also actors were not comfortable. Okay, so वहाँ पे whenever during the song, when these two characters are coming close to each other, they're about to kiss each other, suddenly there's a cut and we show two flowers, the hitting each other. Okay, or cut to two sparrows, they're kind of the beaks touching each other, and you could understand these two characters are kissing, but you're not showing the kissing direct. So then this again is a dynamization. So sometimes you need to show love making. Now it is very difficult to show love making on Indian screen. Again, the actors are not comfortable. So again, you kind of try to dynamize. Okay, so when these two characters are getting intimate, very close, they're holding each other, or smooching each other maybe. Okay, and they arrive at a passionate moment and they'll start making love. Okay, suddenly you cut to waterfall. The waterfall, the water falling and to the river, gushing river. The river is overflowing both the banks. Okay, and you understand they're making love. Am I clear?
Yeah, sir. Sir, can you explain dynamization of time?
I'll explain dynamization of. Okay, so it can be anything. कोई भी scene है, कोई भी scene में ऐसा हम लोग situations देते थे कि how do you show the relationship between two characters? Okay, without the help of dialogues. Two characters, the power equation between two characters. एक suppose एक boss है और एक नौकर है. So how do we establish that this guy is a boss and this guy is a nauker? Okay, or how do we establish the power relationship between two characters? Or how do we establish the relationship between the object and a character? Okay, without the help of that. So object could be, the character, the situation could be the character trying to give up smoking and he's failing. He's not able to give up smoking. So तुम मुझे दिखाओगे कैसे? That is also dynamization, the way you do it. Okay, without kind of, how do you dynamize the scene? Okay, so basically dynamization is evoking, instead of showing it directly, you're evoking it through something else. But whatever is that so-called something else has to be a part of that space. It cannot be cut to something far away. Okay, it has to be related to that particular space. As far as dynamization of time is concerned, is basically, again, this is again a little tricky thing. Dynamization of time is basically manipulation of time. Okay, how are you dynamizing? Basically, the next question deals with that. I don't know, I mean, the answer that you're giving in the next question. What is time? What is the concept of time? Give two examples. One is compression of time. Another is stretching of time, which is called expansion of time. These are basically your dynamizing time. Suddenly, I'll give an example from a Satyajit Ray film called Ghode Baire, made long back in the 80s, late 80s, early 80s rather. Okay, वहाँ पे क्या है? It's a period film, zamindari period in Bengal. At that time, women used to be in parda. Okay, the women never came out in front of strangers. Okay, but the zamindar is a very liberal guy. Okay, and he has got a friend who has come to visit him, who's a revolutionary. This is a story set in 1905 during political turmoil in Bengal. Okay, so the zamindar is very progressive, and he wants his wife, who is in Padda, okay, to meet the friend. Okay, and this is something very, very revolutionary, क्योंकि वो जमाने में कोई भी husband अपने औरत को या अपने बीवी को बाहर नहीं लाते ड्राइंग रूम में, even if he was a friend. Okay, so what he is doing is something very, very revolutionary. So the woman has dressed up in a new sari and all that. Okay, and both of them, the camera is placed at the end of a corridor, and we can see it's a long shot. From a long shot, we see the husband and the wife धीरे 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 कैमरे की तरफ आ रहे हैं. फिर वो लोग they'll turn to the left or the right and enter the drawing room जहाँ पे वो जो stranger जो है जो friend जो है इंतजार कर. Okay, now that the fact that they're walking down the corridor, it's a revolutionary moment in the film. Revolutionary in the sense that somebody else, zamindar. Zamindars at that time were very, very kind of feudal, very, very backward thing. But this zamindar is a very progressive guy. What he has taken the decision, he has taken the decision of introducing. So it's a revolution. So जब वो shot चल रहा है, suddenly it becomes slow motion. Slow motion मतलब धीरे 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 धीरे, no longer normal walking speed. So you'll ask, sir, ये slow motion क्यों कर दिया? Once they enter the drawing room, again things are becoming normal speed. Okay, the fact that the director decides to resort to slow motion in that particular shot emphasizes, as if it emphasizes or underlines the revolutionary step which is being taken by the Zamindar character. So this is called dynamization of time. Are you getting me? So you're emphasizing certain things for dramatic reasons, not for the heck of it. हम लोग कभी-कभी dynamization करते हैं for the heck of it, without any reason. Dynamization of time, a slow motion for effect, free shot. A young girl jumps into the air, we suddenly freeze. Okay, because the shot looks beautiful. That is not dynamization. It has to make some meaning. It has to convey some meaning. It has to make some kind of a sense. So this is called dynamization of time. So this is also expansion of time, of course. So the second question, which you're required to answer, what is expansion of time or stretching of time, or what is compression of time? No, all these things are dynamization. Okay, bolo.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, I have one question. A song which is visualizing our flashback or something, which is also a time dynamization, right?
Just because you're indulging in slow motion does not mean dynamizing time. Are you making any point? Is there a sense? Okay, you can have a lot of slow motion, just like, yeah, you can call it dynamization, but it has to make some point. इसीलिए बोला ना, you cannot really pinpoint that this is dynamization, this is not dynamization. ऐसा नहीं होता. It's very ambiguous. It depends upon your interpretation. A lot of Hindi film songs, or even South Indian songs, mainstream songs, they indulge in slow motion. Suddenly the heroine is running, she's running, and she's running in slow motion. Okay, the hero is also running in slow motion. You can call it dynamization, but these are bad examples of dynamization. Dynamization has to make some kind of a point, some kind of emphasize some kind of a dramatic movement. Am I clear? So this is called dynamization.
Yes, sir, you're clear. Sir, in the movie Interstellar, there is something called a time dilation. Through a scene that they are defining time as a physical component. Outside the Earth, when entering a planet, I think some named Kepler planet, the time there works differently to the time of our Earth. It's like 10 minutes of there is equal to some years in our Earth. This scene has manipulated the time in a different sort of way. That can also be stated as time dynamization.
Yeah, right? Of course. And it's a very, something very way out of the world, in cinematic world. Something which has not been done before. So this dynamization. Clear hai? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
और देखो, as far as time is concerned, at the beginning of the lecture, I'll be a little fast now, so that it helps the others who want to do this exercise. देखो, time का 3 use है. एक है compression of time, एक है expansion of time. Okay, the questions were on that. Give 2 examples of expansion of stretching of time. Expansion of time is slow motion. बोलो different angles. कोई flying kick मारता है, तो तुम 3-4 angles से दिखा रहे हो flying kick मार रहा है. Kind of. हाँ बोलो तन्वी.
सर मुझे ये स्ट्रेचिंग टाइम का कोई अच्छा एग्जांपल नहीं मिला इंडियन फिल्म से. सर मैं अगर आपको एक एग्जांपल दूं तो फिर आप बता सकते हैं कि ये स्ट्रेचिंग टाइम है या नहीं?
बोलो.
अच्छा सर, ठीक है. सर मैंने एक फिल्म देखी थी पटियाला हाउस नाम से. उसमें एक गाना था, वो क्यों मैं जागूं करके गाना था. उसमें जो लीड कैरेक्टर होता है अक्षय कुमार का, वो दिखाते हैं कि मतलब वो अपनी एक ऐसी मोनोटोनस लाइफ जी रहा होता है जो वो नहीं चाहता होता है. तो फिर मतलब उसको पूरा दिखाया जाता है कि वो एक जगह काम करता होता है, वो उस जगह जाता है, और मतलब पूरा स्लो पेस में एक सैड सॉन्ग के जरिए दिखाया गया है. साथ ही साथ वो ये भी याद कर रहा होता है कि किस तरह से मैंने अपनी लाइफ में कुछ ड्रीम किया था, लेकिन अपने फादर की वजह से ये कर नहीं पाया। और फिर मतलब फिर कोई वैसा वो दिखा के इसकी सैड सिचुएशन दिखाई जाती है एक गाने के जरिए। तो वो एक स्ट्रेचिंग टाइम का वो होता है कि
नहीं
एक
नहीं
तरह
नहीं
से
नहीं नहीं नहीं, दिस इज
एक
नॉट
स्लो
स्ट्रेचिंग टाइम,
पेस का रख
दिस इज
दिया
नॉट
गया।
स्ट्रेचिंग टाइम। देखो स्लो मोशन है क्या? अगर स्लो मोशन है तो
स्लो बेस सॉन्ग है, मतलब
स्लो, नहीं
जिसमें
नहीं नहीं
कैरेक्टर
स्लो,
का
नहीं 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 स्लो बेस सॉन्ग। When you say a film is slow or a song is slow, this is very relative. What might feel slow for you could feel normal for somebody else. So this is not an example of expansion of time. Expansion of time generally देखो होता नहीं है, the stretching of time जो हम लोग बोलते हैं। तो as I told you कि expansion of time is something, जैसे कि there's a very famous film, you'll be taught in film schools, all the film schools will teach this, will refer to this particular film, कि वहाँ पे एक रशियन फिल्म called 1925 का फिल्म है बैटलशिप पोटेम्किन। बैटलशिप पोटेम्किन, ठीक है ना? तो बैटलशिप पोटेम्किन में एक फेमस सीक्वेंस है, इट्स ऑलमोस्ट लाइक 6 to 7 मिनट सीक्वेंस है। इट्स कॉल्ड द ओडेसा स्टेप सीक्वेंस। ओके, ओडेसा स्टेप सीक्वेंस में क्या है, एक हार्बर है, हार्बर में वो शहर के जितने लोग हैं वहाँ पे टाइम पास कर रहे हैं। वहाँ पे वॉरशिप्स में सेलर्स हैव रिवोल्टेड, दे आर हेल्पिंग, दे आर पासिंग फूड टू द सेलर्स ऑफ द ships which are on strike. Okay, suddenly the soldiers appear on the top of the steps, okay, aiming their gun below, जहाँ पे लोग कोई पेराम्बुलेटर में pushing the child, कोई old lady बैठी हुई है kind of, and they start shooting them. Okay, and there's a massacre which happens. So in real life, this kind of a massacre where you have a row of soldiers with their bayonets and rifles shooting down innocent people and they're crying, running and all, it will take not more than 1 minute, isn't it? In real life, ठीक है, इतना सोफिस्टिकेटेड बंदूक से तुम अगर ये कर रहे हो, लेकिन तुम अगर ये फिल्म देखो कि इतने सारे एंगल से दिखाया गया, कभी कभी स्लो मोशन दिखाया जा रहा है, कभी कभी कोई एक्शन जो है रिपीट दिखाया जा रहा है, गिरने वाला कोई औरत गिर रही है, वो डिफरेंट एंगल से दिखा रहा है। गिरेगा तो फटाक से गिरेगा ना, गिरने में कितना टाइम लगेगा? तुमको अगर गोली लगेगा तो तुम तो तुरंत गिर के मर जाओगे, लेकिन यहाँ पे ये जो सीक्वेंस है वहां पे दिखा रहा है गिर रही है, दूसरा कट टू अनदर एंगल, अगेन वो गिर रही है, अनदर एंगल अगेन वो गिर रही है, कट टू अनदर कैरेक्टर वो भी गिर रहा है। So what the director has suddenly done is stretching the time. Okay, he's expanding the time. It's called expansion of time or stretching of time. So जो 1 मिनट का जो घटना है, which may have taken 1 minute in real life, suddenly you feel on the screen it is stretched to 6 minutes or 7 minutes. Details में दिखाया गया है, each and every single individual का मरना, दौड़ना, भागना, डिटेल्स में दिखाया गया है, रिपीट करके दिखाया। So this is called expansion of time.
So you said that there are 3 uses of time.
One is expansion of time, which is very rare. Expansion of time का most common example is slow motion. एक है freeze frame, suddenly you freeze the frame. That is also you're holding time, as if you're holding time. So that is also expansion of time. ठीक है। एक है, which is the most common thing, which is compression of time. What is compression of time? कि बेसिकली देखो, अगेन 99% ऑफ द फिल्म्स आर कंप्रेशन ऑफ टाइम। जैसे कि सपोज गांधी कैरेक्टर के ऊपर बहुत सारे फिल्म्स बने हैं। द मोस्ट फेमस फिल्म इज गांधी बाय रिचर्ड एटनबरो, व्हिच इज एन अमेरिकन प्रोडक्शन, हॉलीवुड, ठीक है। नाउ लुक एट द लाइफ ऑफ गांधी। गांधी from the man's birth in Gujarat in some village till his death in 1948 when he was shot by somebody, okay. So he lived till the age of, I don't know, suppose he lived till the age of 75, suppose, ठीक है ना? हाँ, तो ये फिल्म अगर तुम देखोगे 75 years of a man's life दिखाया गया, a man called Gandhi, ठीक है। लेकिन फिल्म का ड्यूरेशन is it 75 years? No, it cannot be, isn't it? The film का ड्यूरेशन is 3 hours, approximately 3 hours. तो डायरेक्टर ने क्या किया, 75 years of a man's life has been compressed into a 3-hour film. This is called compression of time. Very simply put, because whenever you are making a film, you do not show everything. What you do, you select from the man's life, the character's life. हर चीज दिखाना जरूरी नहीं है। जो ड्रामेटिक है, जो इंटरेस्टिंग है, जो तो पहले तुम्हें ये सोचना पड़ेगा ये फिल्म किस बारे में है। ओके, अच्छा, ये फिल्म गांधी का पॉलिटिकल लाइफ के बारे में। It's not about his married life. It is not about his relationship with his wife, or it is not about his relationship with his son. It is not about his जब वो बैरिस्ट्री इंग्लैंड में बैरिस्ट्री पढ़ रहा था. It is not about that. It's about his arrival in India with takes up the movement, political movement which is already there. He gave it a mass base. Okay, it's about his political. So first you have to decide मैं
तो
क्या
सब
दिखाना चाहता हूँ.
बायोपिक्स जो होती हैं,
It's not only biopics. मैं तो ये बायोपिक का एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ. तुम अगर
हाँ, तो
बायोपिक
मतलब
नहीं भी है,
बायोपिक्स में जरूरी नहीं होता हमेशा कि मतलब वो कुछ ही हिस्सा मतलब सब कुछ लाइफ का दिखाएंगे, क्योंकि सर क्या हुआ था ना,
तुम नहीं दिखा पाओगे ना. तुम अगर
हाँ
वेब
नहीं
सीरीज,
दिखा पाएंगे सर,
तुम
मतलब
वेब
पता है।
सीरीज भी अगर बना रहे हो, सपोज 2 घंटे 3 घंटे का फीचर फिल्म है, तुम एक सीजन 1 सीजन 2 सीजन 3 बना रहे हो, फिर भी तुम हर चीज नहीं दिखा पाओ.
और ट्रायोलॉजी बन सकती है मतलब इसमें, जैसे कि सर क्या हुआ था ना, सर क्या हुआ था वो व्हेन द फिल्म संजू केम, तो संजू के बारे में भी लोग ऐसे पूछ रहे थे कि अरे इसमें सिर्फ कुछ ही हिस्से क्यों दिखाए गए हैं, काफी चीजें नहीं दिखाई गई अबाउट द स्टार, तो फिर और भी दिखाना चाहिए था.
एग्जैक्टली,
तो फिर वही था.
इसी को कंप्रेशन ऑफ टाइम बोलते हैं ना. तुम हर चीज नहीं दिखाते हो. तुम आई यूज द वर्ड, जस्ट राइट इट डाउन, सिलेक्शन.
सिलेक्टिव, हाँ.
You have to select. You cannot show everything. So that is compression. So again, what you are doing is basically compressing time. Okay. Even within a scene, एक सीन के अंदर, सपोज सीन जहाँ पे क्लासरूम वाला सीन है, ओके, जैसे हम लोग अभी क्लास कर रहे हैं ना, 2 घंटे से क्लास कर रहे हैं. ये अगर ये कोई फिल्म का हिस्सा होगा, तो तुम 2 घंटा पूरा नहीं दिखाओगे. ये 2 घंटे का जो हम लोग क्लास कर रहे हैं, वो तुम्हें 20 सेकेंड में दिखा दो. कैसे दिखाएगा? फास्ट मोशन में नहीं दिखाएगा. ठीक है ना? वो कैसे दिखाएगा? इंपॉर्टेंट मोमेंट्स. सर व्हाट इज डायनामाइजेशन, मैं एक्सप्लेन. कट टू, सर व्हाट इज टाइम, व्हाट इज कंप्रेशन ऑफ टाइम. यू नो, थोड़ा मोमेंट्स, टुकड़ा लेगा, एक सीन बन जाए. So that again is compression of time. So instead of showing a 2-hour class, what you're doing, you're showing a 30 seconds class. So cinema, 99% of the time, cinema is dealing with compression of time. It's compressing time. Okay. और एक use है, third use, there's something called the real time. What is real time? Real time is the duration of the film. अगर 2 घंटे का फिल्म है, suppose, ठीक है ना, हाँ, तो उसके अंदर जो घटना दिखाया जा रहा है वो भी 2 घंटे का है. वो 2 साल का या 40 साल का नहीं. समझ गया ना? जैसे कि तुम्हें फिल्म आया था, इट्स कॉल्ड, बहुत सारे फिल्म है, जैसे कि फोन बूथ, हॉलीवुड फिल्म. ओके. हाँ, फोन बूथ में तुम अगर इफ यू सी दैट फिल्म, देयर इज अनदर फिल्म कॉल्ड हाई नून. ओके. वहां पे तुम देखोगे कि फिल्म 90 मिनट का अगर फिल्म है, जो घटना जो हो रहा है वो भी 90 मिनट का घटना हो. हाँ, वो 4 घंटे का घटना कंप्रेस करके 90 मिनट में दिखा रहा है, ऐसा नहीं है. सो वी कॉल दिस रियल टाइम फिल्म्स. आई राइट डाउन.
या सर एक्चुअली क्या हुआ था, मैंने एक पुरानी सर्वाइवल ड्रामा फिल्म देखी थी, इंडिया की वन ऑफ द मोस्ट ओल्डेस्ट सर्वाइवल ड्रामा फिल्म्स, 1992 की फिल्म थी, इन विच एक बच्ची की कहानी दिखाई जाती है कि वो खेलते खेलते बोरवेल में गिर गई थी, और वो एक रियल इंसिडेंट पे बेस्ड थी वो, जिसमें रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन कम से कम 50 आवर्स तक चला था. लेकिन उस फिल्म में रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन को मतलब कम से कम आधे घंटे से कम है 20 मिनट में दिखा दिया गया था. बहुत लंबे समय तक बच्चे की बैक स्टोरी दिखा रहे थे. ऐसा तो मतलब सर्वाइवल ड्रामा थी.
देखो, बैक स्टोरीज भी है, बच्चे का बैक स्टोरी भी है, रेस्क्यू भी दिखा रहा है. हाँ, सो इतना लंबा घटना दिखा रहा है. हाँ, और रेस्क्यू 50 घंटा रेस्क्यू में लगा. ठीक है ना? फिल्म का ड्यूरेशन तो 50 घंटा नहीं हो सकता ना, तो आदमी बोर हो जाएंगे. हाँ, सो 1.25 घंटे का फिल्म है, तो तुम क्या करो, डायरेक्टर क्या करे, टाइम को कॉम्प्रेस कर रहे हैं. टाइम को कैसे कॉम्प्रेस करे? भाई सिलेक्टिंग, क्या क्या दिखाने का है, क्या नहीं दिखाने का. ठीक है.
जैसे सर अभी रिसेंटली एक और फिल्म आई मिशन रानीगंज आई थी, मतलब उसमें भी ऐसे दिखाया गया था रेस्क्यू की मतलब उसमें बारीकी से दिखाया गया था. मतलब ये भी होता है कि मतलब उसको स्लोली स्टेप बाय स्टेप प्रोग्रेस को कैसे दिखाया गया है, मतलब कंप्रेस कर मतलब टाइम को.
वही बात है ना, वही बात है. देखो, एनी वर्क ऑफ आर्ट, स्पेशली सिनेमा, it involves a rigorous process of selection and elimination. मैं लिख दे रहा हूँ, सिलेक्शन एंड एलिमिनेशन. मतलब मैं क्या दिखाऊंगा और क्या नहीं दिखाऊंगा. हम लोग ज्यादातर नहीं दिखाते बहुत कम है. वो जो भी हम लोग दिखाते हैं उसी से, और ऐसा दिखाते हैं, स्ट्रक्चरिंग भी ऐसा करते हैं कि ऑडियंस जब वो देखता है उसको पूरा वाइडर पिक्चर क्लियर हो. चलो विल मीट टुमारो. एंड बाकी जो है कल तुम्हारा भी पढ़ लेंगे, और भी अगर क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड टू टुडेस टॉपिक.
Sir, one was compression of time, the other is expansion of time, and the third, sir,
real time. ठीक है. तो विल मीट टुमारो. ओके.
ओके,
Thank you.
चलो, बाय. थैंक यू.
Bye, sir.